Blog Talk Radio.
We interrupt this broadcast for an emergency announcement. A massive earthquake. The flood has reached. All roads into and out of are closed. No medical services. Store shelves have been stripped.
What's coming? Are you ready? You are at the right place to hear the best ways to stay safe and weather the coming storm. Welcome to Power Preppers. Here is your host, Patricia Baker.
We are back. Welcome to another episode of Power Preppers. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and my mission is to make getting prepared for any emergency easy and efficient. So get healthy, get informed, and get prepared. And also remember to sign up for our newsletter, which you will find at supernaturalgirls.com. That will give you all the latest show information for both Supernatural Girls and Power Preppers. And it will also give you access to some terrific discounts on products that we have. We do book giveaways and offer all kinds of free stuff. So, sign up and make sure you don't miss out. We also have a Supernatural store, which has gifts and prosperity prayers and offers private readings. And we have a new class that we're doing in Dreaming the Impossible, returning to a state of grace. If you're interested, just send us an email, and we'll put you on the list to sign up. We are only going to be working with 2 people. So if you'd like, 4 people. If you'd like to be one of the 4, then please do send an email over. You will find our email addresses at supernaturalgirls.com. This Saturday night, my co-host, Becky Andreasen, and I will be speaking with historian Edward Malkowski. Edward is the author of the book Return of the Golden Age, and he will be addressing what he believes to be something very positive in our future. What a nice change, huh? And he feels it's based on not only our ancient history, but some celestial events. So be sure to join us this Saturday, 9 to 11. Now, today, we have a very important show. I think this is the most important show that we have ever done and will ever do. And it is how to survive a carjacking with our security expert, Steve Minguez. Now, Steve is a former member of the New York City Police Department with 27 years' experience as a Senior Firearms Instructor and member of the Intelligence Division Dignitary Protection Unit. Steve was Senior Instructor in charge of the Emergency Service Unit for 12 years. He developed numerous training programs that included advanced firearms training, hostage rescue, dignitary protection, counter-assault team tactics, close quarter battle training, and also sniper training. He has conducted training and established anti-terrorism deployments. He is a New York State Firearms Instructor. And he holds so many more certifications, I would just be able to spend the whole time talking about it, but we're not going to because we have a very important subject here today. So, Steve, welcome to Power Preppers.
Oh, thank you for having me, Patricia.
Well, thank you so much for coming back to talk about this very serious issue. This is a crime that is on the rise, and from all the information you've given me, I have to say it is probably one of the scariest things I've ever read about. So, as you were mentioning, this is a crime that used to happen mostly overseas. You didn't see this very much here in the United States, but that has all changed.
Yeah, times are changing. And unfortunately, these crimes are forcing us to change our mindset in public, out in the public, in our work environment, and in our home. It's pretty tough. But being out in that carjacking situation, in a vehicle, you're most vulnerable because you're out in the open. It's even during a presidential motorcade, The president travels. Most vulnerable is motorcade. Because, again, you're out in the open, even with all of the countermeasures and protection that we have out there.
And we've talked before. You've been on the show before, and we've talked about rings of security for the home where you have a gate, you have floodlights, you have alarms, you have all of these early warning systems so that by the time that criminal actually gets to your front door, you have some warning. But when you're going to your car in your driveway, or when you are shopping for groceries and you're going to your car, or picking up your dry cleaning, you don't have those rings of security. So, like you said, you're wide open.
Right.
Now, what can we do? I mean, this is a really scary thing. What can we do?
Well, I'm sorry to make it sound so simple, and it really isn't, but one of the main things that you can really educate yourself and implement avoidance. Educating yourself and avoiding attack is basically to stay alert and at all times to be aware of your environment. Educating yourself to the most likely places that the carjacking can occur, although it can occur anywhere, meaning with high crime areas, lesser traveled roads, let's say you're in a rural area, intersections where you're forced to stop, isolated areas, a parking lot, residential driveways, traffic jams to congested areas, things of this nature. Okay, so you're not going to be able to. Some security expert or a police officer or whoever could say, well, you know what, you should really learn to avoid these areas, and you'll have less of a chance of having something like this happen to you. The reason why I chuckle is because it's not pragmatic. You've got to go out there during Christmas, and you've got to go shopping. You've got to go into these. Some of us have to go into these congested side streets. And myself being a New Yorker, you go into New York City, and geez, I'd love to travel down a 2-lane road, but I'm going to have to go down that one-way street that has parked cars on both sides, and I'm jammed up in the block. So your best bet is to be able to see it coming, if you see it coming. Okay, meaning if something looks out of place, somebody saw you exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
meaning if you see it coming, it may not present itself to you with it raises the hair in the back of your neck. Something doesn't smell right. It may not be something that doesn't smell right to you, and you get caught. You get caught off guard. But your antenna have to be up, as I had discussed on previous shows about changing your mindset and being aware of your situation awareness. Okay.
Well, I think this is number one. I mean, people have to wake up from their sleepwalking state, and they have to, again, like you said, pay attention. Your antenna has to be up. You have to pay attention so that if you do happen to see some people lurking near your car or behind a post or something, then you can take other action. And if you ignore that, you're searching for your keys, or you're thinking about what you're going to make for dinner that night or whatever, you're not paying attention, and they have the advantage, no question.
Right, and also educate yourself to their techniques. As you and I were speaking off the air, the bump routine where somebody comes, an attacker bumps your vehicle from behind. What do most people do in a situation like that? They get out of their car.
Yeah, you stop. Get out of your car and you stop. Yeah, I mean, not in that order. You stop first, then you get out of your car, and then you're right. And this is something that I was concerned about when we were talking earlier. I'm like, well, okay, so let's say you get bumped, and you look in your rearview mirror, and you see 4 thugs sitting in a car. You don't want to stop your car, yet there's a law that says you have to stop your car if there's an accident, and you can be arrested if you don't. So you had a great suggestion of what to do if that happens. Yeah.
In the state, at least in the state of New York, and I know we're speaking to listeners from all around the world, but specifically as to my state, and I'm familiar with the law here, being former law enforcement. If you're in a vehicle accident with no injuries involved and you actually left the scene of the accident, here you would be cited. You would be given a summons. If you left the scene of an accident and there were injuries involved, you could literally be locked up, as you would say. You could be charged with a misdemeanor, okay, at the very least.
Yeah.
Now, keeping along the line of your question, okay, if my antenna, so to speak, went up, it doesn't feel right that I got bumped, and I look in the rearview mirror and I see guys that are making me nervous. Okay, I didn't get bumped by an 80-year-old lady, and I really don't think the 80-year-old lady is going to carjack me. So I'm going to be okay getting out of the car. Okay, if I left that scene, turned the corner, picked up my phone, called 911, or saw a police officer and said, "Hey, back in such and such street and such avenue, I was involved in a vehicle accident. I left the scene, and here's the reason why I left. I want to report this accident." Right? That really wouldn't be frowned upon. Okay? I mean, I remember some time ago we had a problem where bad guys were posing as they were impersonating police officers. They were using the typical, stereotypical Crown Victoria, blacked out windows, black wheel type car with the little red light on top of it, and they were claiming to be police officers with phony ID. And they were literally sticking people up, raping them, and other various types of crimes. Well, the police departments literally made a public service announcement stating, if you feel that this person is not a police officer, okay, keep driving to a police station, get on your cell phone, call. If you see a uniformed police officer, notify them. Police departments in the Long Island area, I believe in Nassau County and Suffolk County, went so far as to make sure that their officers were in uniform, even though they were unmarked cars. Okay?
Right, so that people would know who's who.
Yeah, these are. No one's going to fault you because you felt that your life was in danger and you were trying to protect yourself.
So be less concerned about doing the so-called right thing. Be more concerned about your safety and just get on the phone, call 911, turn the corner, like you said, get away from those people if you can, and explain why you did that. So, and of course, if you have a bad feeling, honor that. Listen to it. And it's there for a reason. So make sure that you follow your intuition on that.
And this goes back to changing our mindset. Okay, and I'd be guilty of it myself. My first reaction would be, hey, you know what? Who just hit me? I look in the rearview mirror, and I'm going to get out of the car, and I'm like, some people get upset, they jump out of the car like, I can't believe they just got hit. And all of a sudden, you're approached by two people pointing guns at you. Again, when I say changing your mindset, we have to start changing our way of thinking and our approach to these incidents.
Well, we do, because we have to realize that, bottom line, we are at risk. This is a crime that is on the rise in a major way, and apparently it's very easy for these criminals to take your car and make a deal with some broker, and it's on a container bound for another country, and the deal's done, the money's in their pocket, you're out the car, could be injured or dead also. So it's a very easy crime, it seems, for them to commit and get away with. And then you're just in the way, that's all, as the car owner.
Right. And if they, hopefully they just take the car, you don't cause any physical harm to you.
But you don't know which way it's going to go. I mean, and some of the real scary things are when parents have their children in a car seat in the back strapped in, again, for their protection and according to the law, and they are confronted by an armed assailant who takes the car and their kid's left in the back seat. I mean, I can't imagine anything more frightening to a parent than watching a car drive away with their child in the back seat.
Right. And now, I mean, I'm not making a promotion for any devices. Nowadays, you've got companies out there who are literally selling GPS tracking devices that could be put onto kids to be able to recover their children.
Really, that sounds like a wonderful idea.
Yes. Yeah.
So
it's not just with the cell phone, because somebody could throw their cell phone in the garbage or the car could be dumped and the kid could be taken.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually putting tracking devices in their children.
That's I think, again, given the state of affairs today, where it appears like things are getting more critical, it makes sense to do things like that, be preemptive as much as possible. And also, it's not a bad idea if you can avoid high crime areas, avoid them. If you can travel without having to stop in isolated areas in parking lots, then don't do it. I mean, just try to use common sense about where you're driving and where you're stopping, especially at night when you're going to be by yourself. And as you mentioned, traffic jams or congested areas, it's not even, I mean, sometimes it's just, what are you supposed to do? You got to get to your destination, and sometimes, especially if you're in New York, Boston, any city, you're going to encounter those traffic jams. So you have to, though, be smart about it. Lock your doors. It's the same kind of thing that you also said to people about their homes. Lock the doors to your home, lock the doors to your car. Something as simple as that can make a difference.
Right. Now, in addition to the bump, there are a few safe other techniques that are used. There's one that they call the Good Samaritan. There's a ruse. There's a trap. The Good Samaritan one is where the attacker stays what appears to be an accident, and they simulate an injury. The victim stops and to give assistance, and then the vehicle is taken. Or somebody they pull a ruse where the vehicle behind is, let's say, flashing their lights at you, and ways you to get your attention, and the attacker is trying to indicate there's a problem with your car, and then you pull over, and then the vehicle is taken from you, and they will also trap you too. I mean, the carjackers use surveillance to follow you, to follow the victim home, and that's now we've got carjacking, and then we've got home invasion too.
Yeah, you get both. That's lovely. Now,
so
with the
now we're in a department store. We're in a department store going shopping, for the holidays or whatever, and someone could be inside the department store looking at you. How are you spending that money? What are you picking up in there? And it's a great place to cruise to see if there are any potential victims that they could pick on.
So they're basically scouting the area for victims. You could be one of them, and you're just paying for your purchases and walking out the door. And
absolutely. Okay. They know the parking lot layout. They know the avenues of escape. They know the lighting conditions there. They know if there are surveillance cameras there. They are, for the most part, if they are organized, they're going to do their homework.
Right.
They're really going to do their homework.
And, we don't want to discourage people from helping other people, but, again, you drive by, you're in your car, you see somebody who is in need, get on your cell phone and call 911, especially if any concern that this may not be for real. And quite honestly, you may not know, and it's better to be safe and call 911 and let the professionals show up rather than putting yourself at risk and getting out of that car. And then there might be 2 or 3 other people hiding somewhere with weapons. So best to call 911 and let the professionals deal with the situation. So there's that option that people do have, and they shouldn't feel badly about questioning whether this is for real or not, because it goes on all the time where it's not for real and they want your vehicle. So, again, let the professionals deal with anything that looks like an accident. And the other thing is this: there's something wrong with your car, which you called the ruse. So when somebody's telling you there's something wrong, what should you do? They're trying to wave you over, flashing their lights. What do you do in a situation like that? What's the best response?
If someone's flashing their lights at me and telling me there's something wrong with my vehicle, what I would do is I would continue to drive until I got into a populated area.
Okay.
If I had a flat tire and I had a couple of characters telling me that, hey, your tire's getting low and it went low, I would literally drive in that rim. If I was a regular civilian. Now me, it's a little bit different because I'm physically able to protect myself because I am armed. Okay?
Yes.
But if I was the average person who doesn't have my capability or the equipment that I have, I would continue to drive until I got to a safe, well-lit, somewhat populated area.
Right. So don't assume that the person who's waving you over has any of your best interests at heart. It may not be the case. It may be one of these situations where they're going to carjack you. So, like you said, drive to a well-lit area, drive to a police station, and also get on your phone and call 911 and let them know what's going on.
If someone was waving to me and said something wrong with my car and there was steam pouring out of my car, well, there is something wrong with my car.
Right. Yes.
Granted. But if there's nothing wrong with my car, I guess there's nothing wrong with my car, but it continues to drive.
Yeah, if it's still moving.
I'm not going to take their word for it. I'll be so eager to take their word for it.
Yeah, that's right. Don't just be automatically trusting of anybody. And this is, I think, especially an important message for new drivers, teenage drivers, young people who may really, may not be as jaded as you and me, Steve, and may think, wow, somebody's just trying to help me. So you need to be a little more cautious, everybody out there, but certainly the younger drivers. Don't automatically trust that these people are really trying to help you.
And Patricia, along the line, you're bringing up a good point about, something is operationally wrong with the vehicle. Okay, it's a smart thing for people to maintain their cars. When the Dignitary Protection course is given and we're going over vehicles, vehicle maintenance for the security driver in the private sector or law enforcement is one of the topics that's discussed. Okay, so making sure that you have the vehicle is properly serviced, that you have gasoline in that vehicle,
which is so important.
You're not going to be,
I mean, a lot of people don't even think about that, but it's true. I mean, if you run out of gas, you're a sitting duck.
Right.
So just something as simple as that. I mean, here we have a rule because we're so far out in the middle of nowhere. When you're out doing errands, whatever, and you're not allowed to bring the car back if it goes below a half a tank, you got to fill it up. So we always have enough gas, and there's never a concern. But so many people like to just run it till it's almost empty. They forget, and they're really putting themselves at risk by doing something that is easily taken care of. Just fill up your tank. Make sure you always have gas in that car.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, too, because you can get lost. I mean, I get lost. Even if I have GPS, I can get lost. And you can end up in a bad neighborhood. You can end up where you don't know where in the world you are. And, again, you run out of gas, that's really a bad thing. It's a bad thing, and, again, it's easy to take care of, simple to take care of, just by being vigilant about how much gas you have in your tank.
Absolutely.
And also, like you were saying, make sure your tires aren't bald, make sure that you have oil, make sure that everything has been checked out and is running the way it should be. So that's a good way to keep yourself safe right there. And it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a number of recent carjackings, and one that was so horrific that comes to mind is the two attorneys, the young couple. They had just come out from shopping, and she had just gotten into the passenger side of the car. Her husband had shut the door for her, and he was jumped and shot in the head. And they, I guess, got her out of the car, the criminals, and took off. I mean, it's just a terrible, terrible situation. Now, I mean, what words of advice would you have for anybody who is in the same situation? Is there anything this guy could have done to save his own life?
Well, I'm not here to Monday morning quarterback anyone, and I'm not going to give you any buts here, quite frankly. I don't know what the particular circumstances were regarding that incident, except for what we hear on the news.
Right.
But there are situations where there was nothing that you could actually do, except for trying to, again, situational awareness. But situational awareness only goes so far if you're looking around in that parking lot, and out of nowhere, this car just drives up and people pile out of the car at gunpoint and take you at gunpoint. Okay? certainly, if I was unarmed, I wouldn't want to get into a confrontational situation with the person. Okay. There's confrontational and there's non-confrontational, okay? And it's sad. My heart goes out to the family.
It's terrible. I mean, what a terrible thing. And I mean, it doesn't. I agree with you. It doesn't sound like there was much in the way of anything you could have done.
Right. In a non-confrontational situation, you would, let's say, you give up the vehicle freely. Listen carefully to what's being said. Listen to what's being said to you. Listen to all directions. Make no quick or sudden movements. That would be misconstrued as a counterattack. Keeping your hands in plain view. Tell the attacker of every move in advance that you're going to be making. Make the attacker aware if there's children present or not. The attacker may be focused only on the driver and not know that there are children in the car. Okay? In a resistive or confrontational situation, okay, you make a decision to either try and escape or attack the carjacker. And before doing so, you would have to consider the mental state of the attacker, if you could, the possible avenues of escape, the number of attackers. There's usually going to be more than one. Okay? The use of weapons, and when I say the use of weapons are used in the majority of these situations, and I'm not referring to the people who are defending themselves.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
As in the incident that happened in New Jersey. Okay. So, as far as the non-confrontational goes, that's about the best advice I could offer. Okay.
So
if you really wanted to take it a couple of notches higher, if people actually had the time, there are courses out there, be it martial arts, be it dignitary protection, which would actually cover something like cover a segment of that, and carjacking / hostage situation. But again, these things take time and time and money, and mainly it's the time.
I don't think it's a bad idea to take a self-defense class, especially with a situation like this that seems to be escalating out of control. And as you mentioned to me earlier, with these criminals who were involved, that were allegedly involved in this situation, they all had criminal records, lengthy ones.
As a matter of fact, one of them was released from prison, I believe, according to the news, 4 days prior to the incident.
So some of these people who are doing this are experienced criminals, and this is what you're up against. So giving them the keys to the car, and I've seen it suggested, throw the keys on the ground and run like hell, because they really do want the car. Hopefully they don't want anything to do with you. So throw the keys and run like hell, and they're going to take the car and go. Let them go.
Well, if that's what they want, Patricia.
Yeah, hopefully that's all they want.
And if my ability is to run away, yeah, fine. I would hate to be in a situation where I was running away and somebody put a couple of rounds in my back. Again, as far as defense goes, it has to be fluid like water. You can't ever say to a student, if this happens, you do this. If this happens, you do this or that. You have to adapt to all circumstance. Okay? And that's key. Okay? You have to feel it out. And you're going to be making these decisions. I had mentioned this when we did our show on home invasion. You're going to be making these decisions in a nanosecond. Your life just went from a wonderful time of picking up a present for your children or your spouse to life and death, to facing death.
Yeah, a real struggle.
Any nanosecond. Yeah. So it's obviously, I know you're with me on this, it's a very sad situation. And
it's awful. It's awful that we have to think this way.
I would only hope, and I'm sorry to get political, that the politicians would start really waking up and smelling the coffee here, would start putting the politicians' feet to the fire and saying, hey, wait a second, these guys, one of these guys, as just as an example, was in prison for bank robbery, okay? And he gets out of prison for bank robbery, and a couple of others were involved in violent crime, and here we have a person dead. So, and this is a continuing problem throughout the United States. I mean, and where does it stop?
Yeah, and how does it stop? Not to jump on my political soapbox here, but in certain states you're allowed to go out and purchase a firearm, and you get yourself properly trained, and you're able to protect yourself. And in other states, you're relying upon law enforcement to come X amount of minutes after it's over to clean up the mess. Or you have some politician who says in your home, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, but you can only have 7 rounds of ammunition to protect you and your family. I believe that's enough. We had one lunatic politician here in the state of New York who literally said, I believe and I want everybody in their home only to have 1 round of ammunition. Oh, my goodness. How ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I mean, how does one protect themselves? And, you get the people who are financially well off. So what they'll do is they'll get themselves an armored vehicle. What we call in the trade a hard car. They'll get a protection detail on them, security detail. Hopefully it'll be somebody with people with law enforcement, not just a law enforcement background, but an executive protection background in doing this. But, for the most part, the average person doesn't have $300,000, $500,000, $600,000 to spend on this type of vehicle.
That's right. I mean, this is reserved for the elite.
And the people who are calling the shots, so to speak, they're the ones with the protection details and the armored vehicles. Okay? So, and even those armored vehicles. How many
of our politicians do have these things? And, then right. Some of these politicians are the ones that are like this woman saying something like, well, you only get to have 1 round of ammunition, and they're driving around in an armored car with a detail protecting them. That just infuriates me.
Exactly.
Well, hang on to this thought, Steve, because I'm going to just have to take a brief commercial break, but I want to get back on this subject and others to do with this whole carjacking issue and how to survive this. So everybody stay with us. We will be right back.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Bonjour, this is Veronique Raskin, founder of the Organic Wine Company. As one of the pioneers of the organic wine movement, since 1980 I have brought you the very best and most authentic organic wines directly to your table. I work with small family estates who grow certified organic grapes and produce exceptional wines. You can purchase our wines individually from our website at theorganicwinecompany.com or join one of our wine clubs. Our organic wines are perfect for you and for your family as gifts for friends and relatives, and they are simply spectacular for the holidays. Visit us at theorganicwinecompany.com to enjoy the very best organic wines conveniently delivered to your door. I am Veronique Raskin, passionate about my mission. I offer to you vegan, organic, and biodynamic wines, wines made by people of the heart, wines with a heart. Au revoir. Call us at 1-888-ECO-WINE.
Are you ready for a new experience of freedom and powerful connection? Would you like a positive, effortless change in your life? Then come to CosmicFusion.com, where we offer the most advanced energy clearing and expansion techniques in the world, with a quantum vortex energy to activate your divine blueprint and life's purpose. When your soul leads the way with cosmic fusion and quantum vortex energy, you can break clear of past difficulties and blocks with the power of the source. With cosmic fusion, the source energy does the work for you. It's easy and effortless. Listen to our free meditation right from our Cosmic Fusion website, the Cosmic Code Meditation. Sign up for one of our interactive webinars today. Come to Cosmic Fusion, www.CosmicFusion.com, to experience an effortless awakening and transformation. Are you ready for an upgrade? Are you ready for a new experience of living in the fifth dimensional magic and powerful connection? Then visit CosmicFusion.com today. CosmicFusion.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to this very important show. We are talking about how to survive a carjacking with security expert Steve Minguez. Steve, you were talking about the political issues surrounding this and limiting our ability to protect ourselves, limiting the amount of ammunition we can have, things like that. So I don't want to interrupt this discussion. Please go ahead.
It's again, the public can, when you ask what people can do to protect themselves, one of the things, besides these certain types of countermeasures that we discuss on various shows here, is for people to stop putting their foot down and saying, hey, wait a second, we voted you into office. This is what we expect. And unfortunately, a lot of people are led like sheep, and they've got to stop putting their foot down. You'll have an example of some years ago we had an incident that happened, a shooting that happened on the Long Island Railroad. A fellow by the name of Colin Ferguson did a mass attack, what they now call nowadays is active shooter. Okay, one of the people who got killed, his wife became Senator McCarthy, and she led her crusade for anti-gun. We're going to have to get rid of all guns because guns are bad now because of what transpired, specifically what transpired in that train car. It gave her crusade. It rallied her crusade. Where there are so many other people that have actually saved themselves by the utilization of firearms, but it's looked at as taboo. Okay, so putting
and the statistics on it never bear out, because if you look at the statistics of places that allow guns, that people are armed, there's less crime. So
yeah,
the Harvard study also backed that up. As much as it must have pained them to see the results of it, that was what
Patricia,
they found.
Patricia, I'm not trying to rub salt in the wounds here, but this this murder that happened in New Jersey happened in a so-called gun-free zone.
Oh my God!
Okay, that's to add insult to injury. Okay, and and going beyond the political aspect of things and getting into what people can physically do. If I may, going into a war story. Okay, I worked in Dignitary protection for a number of years.
Yes, I know.
And I was also an instructor in Dignitary protection. Right? Again, for a number of years. And without mentioning a specific country or a specific motorcade that I was in a motorcade which we call a high threat motorcade. The road was completely cleared, so traffic was completely shut down in both directions. Okay, from point A to point B, you've got a clear open area. And this motorcade came under an attack, if you will. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, the attack was paint. It was balloons. They were balloons filled with paint.
Wow.
And from a section, from the side of the road, these particular nationals from this particular country were protesting, so they were throwing paint. So we didn't know what was being tossed at us initially.
Yeah,
and
exactly. You wouldn't have known.
My particular job in that motorcade was what's known as designated marksman. I was, in that particular situation, I was a machine gunner. Okay? And one of the things that flipped me out, because my instructor mindset kicked in, the driver, who happened to be one of my students, the first thing that he did, one of the drivers, is he put his brakes on. They hit the brakes. And numerous drivers in this particular motorcade actually hit their brakes. And when I say my instructor kicked in, I started to yell at them, move, 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 keep going. Now, how is this significant? When you're along a so-called route, as we call it in the business, okay, you're traveling from point A to point B, you're moving that vehicle, you're in a route. Okay? The idea here is to keep moving. Okay, to get out of that so-called kill zone. Okay, and
so stopping is not a good idea when the stuff starts flying.
No,
whether paint or bullets or whatever, don't stop. Keep going.
Whether you're in a soft car, meaning a car that's not armored, or you're in a hard car, meaning the car is protected. A vehicle that is armored is affording you time. It's not 100%. Even a presidential limousine, which people call the Beast, okay. Mm-hmm. That's going to afford you time. It's not 100%. Okay, and I could tell you this from my having my own knowledge from doing ballistic testing on various vehicles and various types of glass barriers, be it bullet-resistant glass and other materials. All of these things are only affording you time, and the essential here is to get out of that kill zone, as it's called. Okay, now, you're in a car, minding your own business, and you're sitting there and just having a normal discussion. You're not a dignitary protection person by any means. And what are the things that you should do? Well, a smart thing is to not get up on the bumper of the person in front of you. Give yourself an out. You should be able to see the tires of the car in front of you.
Okay.
If you're in a situation where the person is carjacking you, yeah, great. It's good to keep those windows up and lock those doors, but hey, you could use that car as a weapon.
That's a great idea.
We had a crime that was committed here. I keep saying incident, but I'm going to keep trying to stop myself from saying that. A crime that was committed here by motorcycle riders that were smashing the windows of somebody's car with their helmets, attacking the family. Okay. This person's sitting there. He stayed there stationary. If that was me, if I didn't have a firearm, I would have drove right through him. Especially you have an SUV, the car is substantial. It's got some type of weight. Okay. Now, deadly physical force is being utilized against you. So, if deadly physical force is being utilized against you anywhere on this planet, you're allowed to defend yourself. No one's saying you can't defend yourself. The car is a great tool. It's a great weapon. There are courses out there in evasive driving that can actually teach you how to use your vehicle to ram other vehicles, how to push them out of the way without causing damage to your car.
That would be great to learn. Yes.
Well, I know you would love that one.
I would.
I know you like to drive. I know you like to drive.
Yes. So these are some great ideas. Again, your car can be an effective weapon. It can be the buffer between you and who's trying to take your car from you. And again, it's all of these things, like you said, these are decisions you have to make in the moment. And there's so many variables here, so many things to take into consideration. So you have to be able to think on your feet. And that's where some of these courses that are being offered do make sense.
Yeah, and again, as I've said to you before, we were talking about firearms training. choose wisely. When you're picking your instructors, find out who trained them. Find out what their background is. And there are so many charlatans out there, and I've met my share over my 27 years. And,
yeah, so you do want to make sure you have a great instructor. And same goes for if you're going to get driving instruction. You want to make sure you know who you're studying with, that they really know what they're doing. So all of that becomes important. We've also discussed on the show pepper spray as a way to buy time. If you get caught in a situation where there's a criminal in your face and you're not comfortable with a gun, or you don't want to carry a gun outside of your home, then pepper spray is an option. But I know when we've discussed this before, there is a potential for some people to override the pepper spray, and it doesn't quite affect them the way you'd hope it would. So that is all something that has to be evaluated by each individual and what they're willing to do.
Right. So, and again, going back to the route. When you're in that, not just when you're driving, I say the route. Not just when you're in that supermarket or department store. When you're driving a vehicle, you've got to check those mirrors. And, use those mirrors to your advantage, or your side mirrors, and then the rear view mirror. Situations are always changing. Okay? So again, situational awareness, and it's heads up and watch your six, watch your back. Again, it's your awareness is extremely important.
It is, and let me mention this because there is a video that's kind of gone viral, and it shows someone on a security camera that has attached a string with 6 or 7 tin cans to the car's tailpipe. And a woman comes out of the store, gets in the car, starts it up, starts to drive. Here's this horrible racket behind her. Gets out of the car to check to see what it is, and the criminal gets in the car, drives away with her car. So
right.
Again, there's a very simple ruse that they're doing. So does it make sense then to walk around your car before you get into it? Make sure that nothing's attached to it, so that you're not likely to be caught with something like this.
Well, in addition to walking around the car and taking a look at it, when you're walking up on the car, you should be looking. You got to look you have to look way ahead of yourself here. Okay, and again, this goes back to what I had said at the beginning of the show, that these crimes are forcing us to change our mindset.
They really are, and they're forcing us to...
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. They're forcing us to also realize that the police are not going to be there in a split second necessarily. If they are, that's great, but that's a rare thing. You've got to be thinking on your feet, and you've got to be able to take care of yourself in these situations, because you can't expect somebody else will.
Yeah, I mean, she hears that noise in that vehicle. If she's not comfortable pulling over at that particular moment, she's not happy with the surroundings, you drive down the road into some area that's populated. I mean, I'm not.
Well, in this situation, the woman the car is parked in a parking lot, and somebody has attached this. So, also, if you hear a strange noise, you're not sure, you don't want to get out of the car, you can call into the store and ask them to send out a security person and tell them you're concerned because you're hearing a bad noise and you don't want to get out of the car by yourself.
I'm curious. Would you happen to know if the parking lot was isolated?
I don't think it was. I mean, it just seemed like it was a mall parking lot, and the security camera caught everything. Again, if this is a real video, I do believe it is, then it just was a very simple thing that you wouldn't think twice about. It's just, oh, my God, there's some weird noise. I better get out and look. It's a responsible thing to do. And the guy jumps in the car and takes off.
Was she physically okay?
Yes. He left her there and just took the car.
Thank God for that.
And the other thing is, well, again, if she had the keys, he would have just taken the keys from her, so that wouldn't have mattered. But one other thing I wanted to bring up is that one of the other reasons, besides that our economy is doing so poorly, one of the other reasons that this crime has escalated is the fact that apparently cars cannot be hot-wired the way they used to be. because of all the electronics, the computers in cars, and that's why carjackings also have escalated. So they can't just break in your car and drive away with it like they used to. I thought that was kind of interesting. So now it puts us all more at risk due to the advanced technology in these cars.
Right. That's a very good point you're bringing up.
So I'm hoping, Steve, that someone will put their thinking cap on and maybe come up with some better ideas of how to keep drivers and passengers safe with situations like this. As like you said, you're wide open. You're wide open in these situations. It makes me very uncomfortable to think about this whole issue.
Yeah, law enforcement is, we rely upon the camera surveillance nowadays for obviously description. Hopefully the person is not wearing a mask, and in a trying time, if the person does get away, obviously you're going to be really upset, scared to death. Your ability to report the crime, it's going to be hard. Some people are not going to be able to stand there like Iceman and say, well, he had this little scar on his lip. But if you can, describe the events that were transpired, the direction of flight, the person took, how many attackers there were. You try not to make eye contact with this person that's in front of you, staring at them. And take note of their basic description. So you can try and give something. If you do survive this, you could try and give something to the police.
Right, and also one thing that everybody says across the board is try not to be in the car with them. Try to get away, because if once you're in the car, your chances of survival go down dramatically.
Right. And so far as giving the information, as far as the descriptions go, so to speak, the golden rule is to only give information that you absolutely remember. If you're not sure, don't guess. Mm-hmm.
And some of these people are going to be wearing masks anyway, so describing them becomes more of a challenge. But, again, the idea is that you can get another car, but you want to stay alive. So you don't want to be in the car with them. You want to be away from them. Let them take your car if that's what they want. Good riddance, but you don't want to be in the car. You don't want to be in the passenger side. You don't want to be in the back seat. You don't want to be in the trunk. So, because if you're there with that person, again, the chances that you're not going to come out alive are very great. So to try to get away, it seems like that is the most important thing that should be forefront in anybody's mind in a carjacking situation.
Again, it's avoidance is the best way to prevent an attack, and being non-confrontational is often the best response.
Now, what about this? Because I know some people say that when there's a child involved, there's a child in the back seat, to make sure to tell the carjacker, hey, there's a child in the back seat. Let me get my child, or something like that. Is that something you would recommend? Again, I know every situation's different, but with a child,
well, I actually had said earlier to let them know that there is a child there.
Okay, good. So that is something that they should consider doing, definitely.
Yeah, but again, here we go to their mindset. I mean, here are these characters that these guys are arch criminals. They're career criminals. A lot of them don't mind having 3 square meals a day and letting the penal system support them for the rest of their lives. Okay? They've been in the prison system since they were children.
Yeah, which is very sad, but that makes them even more dangerous to law-abiding citizens, especially law-abiding citizens who are not armed in some way or don't have any training for something like this. This poor woman who's there waiting for emergency medical services to arrive with her husband shot in the head, and someone will say, "Hey, you know what? Let's put some security guards at the garage. Let's ramp this up. Let's put some more cameras here. Let's get some more lights here." What I was saying earlier, what is being done to address, to send a clear-cut message to these lowlifes, these be clean because we're on the air,
that it's not going to be tolerated. If something like this were to come my way, and I had the window of opportunity, as the Buddhists would say, I would put them into the blissful non-existence. Okay.
Well, I understand that. I mean, I really do, and I can appreciate your position because I think a lot of law-abiding citizens, if not all, are very tired of this of criminals being set free back onto the street to do even worse things than they did before, and then we are at the short end of the stick with all of this. So it sounds like what you're saying.
Patricia, we had years ago a problem in New York City with squeegees. Okay, you had these people who would go to the end of the bridges and particular roads, and they'd be out there, and you'd be at a red light, and they'd come over to your window and they'd start squeegeeing your window. It was annoying. Some people were horrified by it. But our mayor at the time, I believe it was Rudy Giuliani at the time, and I think it was Commissioner Bratton, had stopped the nonsense of these squeegees going out there and harassing these people and terrorizing some of them. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, enough is enough. Put your foot down.
Absolutely.
Years ago, I'll give you something that you and I had never spoken about. Okay? Many years ago, in the New York City Police Department, we had a unit called the Stakeout Team. The Stakeout Team was implemented because there were areas where we had high armed robberies. Okay? So we had firearms instructors from my unit that went out along with emergency service. And they sat in those locations that were getting robbed, armed robberies. When the bad guys came in, we had justification. So guess what happened to the bad guys? They got shot.
Do tell.
So now, all of a sudden, the crime started to go down.
Yeah. And that's what you're saying. You're saying insist on stiffer penalties and insist on people that get put away for a long time or something that's going to keep them away and keep them away from us.
Yeah.
If you
turned around to me and said, if you told me, hey, listen, you put your hand in that box, well, by the way, there's a king cobra in that box. I'm not going to stick my hand in that box. I'm going to go someplace else.
Yes.
Okay? So if the bad guys are getting confronted, then they're getting their butts kicked in, they're going to go to the path of least resistance.
Yes, and as we discussed earlier, it's so easy for them to fence these cars and put them in a container and off they go to another country to be sold overseas. So they're pocketing cash, there goes your car, and nobody's checking these containers apparently. So it's very easy for them to do. So there's another possibility here to shut down the supply chain by doing, and I don't know what's involved with checking containers, so I'm just, mentioning this, but who knows? I'm sure there's some reason why they can't do it, but it makes sense to be checking containers if this is what's happening, and it's so easy for them to do, and in the meantime, putting people's lives at risk, not just losing their cars. This is about losing your life. So it's, again, I want to make that clear. This is about how to survive a carjacking. So it's not just how to say goodbye to your car. It's how to survive. It's how to live through this because you may not. These guys don't care. As you said, a lot of them are, not all of them, are career criminals, and they're going to do whatever they feel like doing that day. So, again, it's really important. I think you brought up a tremendous amount of very important points, not just about keeping safe in your, in a situation, but also making sure the politicians are aware that we know what's going on and we want them to increase penalties and also do something about this easy supply chain for them, this easy way for them to make a living off of our cars and put an end to it.
Sure.
So thank you, Steve, so much for coming on the show today. This, like I said, is a very important topic, and it's unfortunately something that's happening on a daily basis here in this country. We all need to do exactly what you said, which is be mindful, be aware. Times have changed.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, thanks. I know you probably saved a bunch of lives today by talking about this and letting people know what to be aware of. So thanks again so very much, Steve, for coming on the show. I'm sure you'll be back again. We have many more things to talk about, and it's always a pleasure to have you here. So stay tuned for next week, everybody. We're going to be talking about Obamacare, dead on arrival, from a medical doctor who is going to be here to tell us all of the bad things about Obamacare as if you didn't already know. But I know there's a lot I don't know about it, and I'm very anxious to hear what Dr. Mark has to say. So everybody be safe. Have a great evening. Take care of yourselves, and we'll be talking to you next week.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another terrific episode of Power Preppers with Patricia Baker.